Excuse me. Say excuse me. This is the 8:40 bus to Whitby, isn't it? The 8:40? Thanks. I had to run, you see. Me run nearly killed me. Not built for speed. Or comfort either. Or anything, come to think of it. Don't mean to interrupt you listening to music, but do you mind if I sit here? Thanks ever so. Don't mind me. You won't get a word out of me. Zip. I said zip. No, not you, Zip. Just an expression, not an observation. Surprised you heard me at all. I say I'm surprised that you heard me. You have your earphone things in, and I can still hear it. Has a heavy beat, doesn't it? Not much of a tune, but the beat, well. But it is very clear, and regular, and loud. I say it's very... Don't mind me, just stick to your beat, son. No, your zip was fine. That'll be one of those new things, won't it? What you're listening your music onto? One of those new fancy generation mobile things? Well, not new, just new to me. Never owned a mobile phone until this week. Never used one until then either. But I recognize that one in the paper. That one of yours? It's a banana, isn't it? Oh, an apple? I knew it was a type of fruit. I don't do fruit. Acid. And 5 a day? I don't think I have 5 a year. But I've not got one of them. An apple. No. I'm happy with my adenoids. What? Androids? Is that what it's called? Explains the odd conversation I had at the car phone warehouse. I went in the other day and said I had trouble with my adenoids. And he said, does it affect your speech? I said, yeah. I can't get a signal when I walk into the vault at the Legion. We did laugh. Well, I did. He just stared at me. For a while, actually. Nervous type. But he sorted it out for me. Nice lad. Not much of a conversationalist. Turns out there was nothing wrong with it. I was speaking into the bit that you're supposed to listen into. I guess I was kind of speaking like we are now. I said I was speaking like... No, never mind. Sorry. It's good to get the weight off your feet, isn't it? Especially in this temperature. But why sitting down would make you think you're going to be any cooler is a bit daft, don't you think? Psychosomatic, my mother would say that was. Not sure if that's the right word for it, but then again, neither did she. She used it that often. Remember, she got it from a copy of Reader's Digest, and we got it in once a day for at least 40 years. Psycho, bloody somatic, my father would say every time we'd say that. My mother did have her favorite sayings and words. Generation thing, I think. I remember if I didn't do as I was told, she would say, it's like banging my head against a brick wall. I'd laugh. Father would sigh. Did a lot of sighing, did Father. Lovely day. Older I've got, the more tolerant I think I've become. Well, just with temperature, nothing else. When I was younger, I had no tolerance at all for the heat. I always whined about it. I knew it used to anger Father. I could tell from the way that he spoke to me, his tone, the way he'd look at me and sigh heavily. Great sire was Father. It was a giveaway. That and calling me an annoying little shit. Leave him alone, Father, Mother would say. Don't you stick up for him, Mother, he'd say. Why must you find fault in him, she'd say. He's an annoying little shit, he'd say. Gets that from your side. But she never rose to him. Never retaliated. And she'd never be goaded or baited. Never argued. Not an argument of bone in my mother's body. A living saint. No. She would just look at Father all kindly like, and she'd speak to him in a gentle voice. Keith? That was Father. And then Father would look at her with an equally gentle toner and would say, what, Mother? And she'd look at him and smile, and she'd say, stick it up your arse. And we'd laugh. Well, me and Mother. Father would sigh. That was marriage. The old-fashioned type. Built on mutual respect. Theirs wasn't a marriage built by fatty fashions like love. It was practicality. Knowing your place and knowing when to keep your gob shut, which kept us together and meant that Father never spoke. Oh, we're stopping. Odd still, isn't it? Can't think we'll be stopped long. I've downloaded the app on my phone, you know, the one for the local buses. You'll be used to that sort of thing, but it's all black magic to me. Bloody clever, aren't they? Phones, apps. You know that this bus makes 36 stops before it gets to Whitby? 36. It tells me that on my phone. And it takes 3.5 hours from Leeds. It's a long journey for some. Not for me. Not today. I don't mind it one bit. Nice to have the fresh air blowing in from the windows, giving you a scent of the scent of where you're passing through. The trees, the flowers, the villages, the lives. Well, not right now, clearly, being stopped. All you can smell is diesel. Not exactly the nasal snapshot of life's rich rural tapestry I was after. Oh, off we go again. I said off we... Never mind. Smells are funny things, though, aren't they? You can look at an old photo and not remember a thing, but a smell can transport you scores of years, thousands of miles. Unlock a drawer in your mind and recover a memory you didn't even know you had. I remember I passed this lady on the market the other day, and I caught a scent of her perfume, and suddenly, I wasn't in the market anymore. I was at my parents' old home. It must have been like 50 years ago. I remember that I was looking up at my mother, and she was looking down at me. She was a beautiful young woman again. And I could smell it. Her. That perfume that she wore. Gala Black Rose, it was called. She wore a lot of that. She said that it made her feel chic. Chic. And bloody Pickering. It could wilt a flower at 20 feet away. Mind, I can't remember what I had this morning for my bloody breakfast, but 50 years ago, it's as close by as my last heartbeat. As if I could reach out and touch her. Not anymore. Now, no laughing. Look at this. Look at this beauty. My new phone. Bloody gas power compared to yours, I bet. Alexander Graham Bell will be turning in his grave. Now then, according to me in this little timetable on my phone, we should be arriving at... Oh, by heck, we're here. 11:44 hours dead. The Ronson Lee Dale. Bloody good, don't you think? Less than an hour to Whitby. I said, bloody good, don't you think? An hour to Whitby. No, never mind. You stick to listening to your music, son. The efficiency of the... Oh, never mind, sorry. I will shut up. Eventually. I don't get out a lot, you see, so it overwhelms me a bit. Especially now. Especially knowing... Well, just knowing. Big Al, by the way. Daft name, I know. But I've always been called Big Al. Ever since school. No one ever used my real name. Or probably didn't know what it was, either. Friends didn't really feature in my life at school, you see. Or sense. Loner, you see. Spent every spare minute of my life in the local library. What we used to term the bookworm I was. I love that place. Still love reading. Books for my friends, you see. My only friends. My mother used to say to me, friends are anathema to you, son. I had no idea what anathema meant. So as you can suspect, I went to the library to look it up. According to the dictionary, it was a procedure in which liquid or gas is injected into the rectum. I had looked up enema. Ironic, really, with Father always calling me a little shit. We did laugh. Me and the librarian. Briefly. Anyhow, the name Big Al stayed with me through work and life. That's all folk know me as still. If you went to anywhere in Pickering and asked if they knew who Big Al was, I'm sure they would say, oh, I know who you mean. You'll be meaning Big Al. From Pickering. Apparently I'm known for being talkative, but I don't know why. I don't even know what Big Al means. Why they called me that. Or what it stood for. See, my name is Derek, but it stuck. I'm not very good in big towns, cities. They make me nervous. And the folk are odd. Loud. Not quiet and reserved. Not like me. Mother never liked big cities either. Well, folk in them. I remember she got home one day after shopping and she went to Father. Father, if I never leave Pickering again, I'll be content until they carry me out of here. I'll never set foot in another big metropolis marketplace as long as I live. So Father said, you fancy Bradford tomorrow then? He laughed. She didn't. He sighed. And then she said to Father, Father, this is no laughing matter. I consider townfolk to be the most egregious of type. Egregious. Now, she got that one when she was at the dentist and was reading a copy of Family Circle. I had to go to the library and look it up for her. Much better now with the internet, though, isn't it? The lad at the phone shop showed me how to look things up on my phone. Amazing. Told me about my free minutes, but I don't see how they can be free when you're paying for the buggers. Anyhow, he started explaining data allowance to me, and I lost the plot. For a while, I thought he was trying to sell me women's hosieries. he told me, you get a couple of bigger tights with this model. And then he said, you'll need it if you go roaming. And I was like, why the bloody hell would I want to be wearing women's tights when I go walking around? Do y'all do that in Leeds? He says, no, it means that you can surf as much as you want. Surf? In bloody Pickering? We don't even have a pond. We did laugh. Well, I did. He just looked at me for a while. Caused much jocularity at the shop. But eventually I figured out he was trying to say gigabytes instead of bigger tights. But he eventually explained it to me. So I tried it earlier today. My data allowance, surfing the net. You get me? It's an amazing thing. The knowledge at your fingertips, finding out things you want to know, answers. Not so great when it isn't things that you wanted or expected. Better off not knowing sometimes, don't you think? Can't unlearn things, can you? No. Look at those houses. Boy, they look just like ours. Must have been built around the same time, too. 1952, I'd say they were built. By God, we were happy back then. I had such great plans back then, too. Go to college, do qualifications, maybe even university, and read. So much reading. A world of books that a young boy in his own library couldn't even imagine. And travel, see the peoples of the world, put faces and experiences to the pictures I'd pored over. And then one morning, all those great ideas of mine changed in an instant. I must have been 16, no more. I recall Mother came downstairs. She did the same thing every day of her life, but I could tell something was different that day. She sat down and I said, "What is it, Mother?" She said, "Father's dead. He died this morning." Simple as that. Nothing more. And then she stood up and said, "Doctor's on his way." I told them that he was dead, but apparently they know better. Because if I didn't know death when I saw it, I told them I know what death looks like. We kept checking for 40 years. She said, "Doctor's on his way, and let him in when he shows up." And then she looked at me and said, "No more books, lad. Shop's yours now." And so she left, just like any other day. Doctor came, and they took Father away. And then Mother came home, and I didn't see her until the morning. I got up the following day, went to the shop, and never left until the day I handed the keys to the man from Texaco last week. Pointed out the oak drawers and the cabinets, handmade by my father they were. He said, "Is there anything you want to take with you?" And there wasn't really. He says, "Pity, because it's all going in a skip." Anyhow, Mother never said a word about Father that day. Never said anything much again, come to think of it. And I never thought about Whitby again. So college never happened. Neither did university, or travel, or books, or people. Oh, well, I said to Mother years later. Could be worse. They could have closed the library down. And then the worst thing that could have happened. They did. The world's a pretty small place when all you know is a greengrocery shop and the library. Mind, when I had to start going to Leeds to see Mother in the hospital, I made a day of it. I always wondered what would happen if I went across the street and went on the bus going in the other direction. But I knew. Of course I did. It was Whitby. Mother's gone now. Last week, actually. The last thing she said to me took me back years. She beckoned me over to her bed, which was at the hospital by then. She spoke in a low, gentle voice, like she did when I was a child. She said to me, "Son, no matter what, I never thought you were an annoying little shit." And she cried. First time I ever saw Mother cry. And then she took my hand and kissed it. She said, "Never forget, son." I said, "I'll never forget you, Mother." She smiled. You know what she said? She said, "I know, lad, but never forget Whitby. You deserve it. It's waiting for you, just like I will be." Not at all like her. Nice to know, though. I know you've got your music turned up on purpose. I get it. I saw that you turned it up 7 stops ago. I noticed. I could tell by the look in your eyes when I was talking about, well, when I was just talking. It was of no interest to you. So I know you haven't heard a word that I've been saying, or even what I'm saying now. Probably can't even read lips, I bet, can you? You're not interested in me. And I don't blame you. You have your own journey. It's just a bus journey for you, not for me. You see, I don't need you to hear me to be interested. In a way, I'm glad that you're not. I just need a chance to say my piece. Say my piece. Funny. That could be what this journey is all about. I'm saying my piece and discovering that piece that I need to find. Different spelling, same journey, same realization. This morning when I was in the hospital at Leeds, I didn't need the doctor to tell me I was dying. I already knew that before I got there. Symptoms, and the wording in the letters that they send you. Please make an appointment as soon as possible, and you may wish to bring someone with you. Says it all, really. I confirmed this morning what I knew, what I was expecting. I just needed to know when. I wasn't interested in the why because it is what it is. My phone told me the what and the why. I looked it up. I stood at the bus station on my own crying. I'm okay. You're alright, lad. Just sneeze, that was all. You get on with your music. Silly bugger. When I did that at the bus station earlier, I pretended that I was looking at my phone so everybody would stop staring at me. And then I remembered I didn't have any numbers in my phone. Just my home number. And that was the only one there now. Why the bloody hell would I be ringing myself? Why had I bought a phone in the first place? Made me laugh. Stopped me from skirting. Anyhow, it's when I saw the app for the bus on my phone. I thought, well, this is the opportunity to control a journey that I want to be on. The last one. The one that I've always wanted. The doctor wanted to give me the ins and outs of a cat's bomb before I left. What it was and why. Anytime that was all he told me when I asked when. No warning, no pain, just gone. So, an unexpected end to my journey, I said. And he looked at me all puzzled like and was like, yes. I wanted to end the journey on my terms. I want to control my journey, I said. How will you do that, he asked. I said, I've got an app for that on my phone. I don't want to leave Pickering without seeing what happens at the end. And I said that as I was walking out of his room. And then I was running all the way to the bus station. And then I went up to the kiosk there. I said the words that I've been waiting a lifetime to say. A ticket for the 840 Whitby, please. In my mind, I have it all figured out. And when you leave, you'll slap me on the back and say, good on you, Big Al. Good on you. And then I'll say, cheerio, young man, like some actor in Brief Encounter. And you get off the 840 and we'd never meet again. Not used to talking about anything bad. Not the dumb thing. I always looked on the bright side. Good stuff. Big hopes for a short journey. That could be what the headline says if they put anything about me in the local paper. And if they ask anybody in Pickering who Big Al was, they'll be told, everybody knows who Big Al is. Stick that in your death notice. And then some local reporter might come up with some clever play on words about what finished me off all sudden, like death of local vegetable legend. And then they could ask the people from my library days, and they'll say, good old Big Al. He did like to read. I wonder if he ever got that dream he used to tell us about before he, you know. You know what my piece of peace is going to be once I get to Whitby? It's going to be fish and chips, mushy peas, 2 rounds of buttered bread, a large pot of tea, sitting at a cafe table at a red checked tablecloth. And sat in the window of cafe will be Big Al, eating the best meal a man could wish for, in God's own country, and best of all in Whitby. You know what else? Why not? Why not indeed? An ice finger. Sawed it, 2 to take out. Walking around the town then, eating ice fingers. Luxury. My idea of heaven. I'm drawing all my money out of the post office, you know. I've written a check out for the lot of it. In my pocket it is. I'm going to put it in the collecting tin of the Salvation Army chap. Well, I'm told is always on the front. Only folk my father would ever give money to, the Salvation Army. I can picture the chap's face when he opens the collecting tin, sees the check for over 400,000 pounds. By God, I hope he's on a bonus. And then I'll walk along the front and up to the Abbey. And then candy floss and slot machines. I've dreamed of candy floss and slot machines. I've got 30 pounds and 50 pence pieces in my pocket right now. The weight of it in there. I can't feel my leg. That's probably not the 50 P's. I know. I'm not daft. It's just my way, making light of things. Glass half full kind of person. That's me. That's Big Al. And then after a face full of candy floss and gambling my money away, and just as the sun is beginning to set, find a quiet bench on the tops, cracking view, sunset bathing the abbey, streaming through the ruins, punctuated by the sounds of seagulls crying. That's the only crying there'll be today. No more tears. I knew it was going to be bad news today, so I've got a hip flask with me that belonged to my father. What's left of Father's sherry in it. Can't think it had gone off. Must be nearly half a bottle left in there. Just enough, I thought. Just enough to remember Father and wash the tablets down. Glass my mother's morphine. Knew it would come in handy. Nice having something to both of them to send me on my way, don't you think? And then just fall asleep watching the sun go down. Never wake up again. Champion. I got a note in my pocket for whoever comes across me to explain everything and all, saying sorry for any inconvenience but I'm sure they'll understand. After all, I got rid of the shop, cleaned out the house, and canceled the milk. Don't like being in trouble. So, here we are. Then the journey that I've chosen. No one else. Not sure why I bought a return ticket. Habit, I guess. But I think I'll leave it in the bus stop when I get off. Put it in a prominent place where people can see it. You never know. Some poor soul might need to get home who's worse off than you are. There's always someone worse off than you. Not like me. I have everything I could ever want or need. At this exact moment, I'm the happiest man alive. And who wouldn't be, huh? I'm the last bus to Whitby.